Hey guys, this is Yoda. In this video, we'll talk about some quick gearing tips for every level fellowship, like whether you're just starting out, whether you're in internal grinding, everything in between, and also how to play if you have a group and if you don't have a group. Definitely, the game is definitely completely different if you have a pre-made group of four, because you can pick exactly which dungeon you're running every time. You never have to wait. Okay, so if you are just starting out, you're just in contender, you have a new character, don't even have all your abilities yet. What should you do? In my opinion, the first thing you should do is you should queue quick play. That is because quick play drops marks of fellowship, which you are going to want anyway, and you might as well do them when your character has nothing. Also, in quick play, your character is kind of normalized. Your weapon gets turned off, your relics get turned off. The only thing that actually changes how powerful you are is what skills you have unlocked. Obviously, your start just started, so you don't have all the skills, but whatever is as strong as you're ever going to be. Also, your secondaries are normalized to like 2,000 each. Your primary stats are normalized. All stats are normalized. And you notice what I said, your secondaries are 20% each. I'm on a 285 character that's in Eternal. A little bit fresh in Eternal, but I'm in Eternal. And that's 20% each is like almost more stats than I have. So your character is going to be extremely strong while you're doing these quick plays. You can kind of speed run them, especially if you know what's going on. So you just go here, boom, quick play, queue it up. Also, you're rewarded with marks of fellowship and supplies. So what can you use those on? Marks of fellowship are basically best spent at the storekeeper. You can see all these boxes, these crafting boxes that I have on cooldown. They're sold out and they come back. This one's coming back in 20 hours. This one's coming back in a week or 3 days, I guess. You want to put these on cooldown ASAP. These contain very useful crafting mats, which you're not going to use early. You're going to use them later. But you want to like buy these ASAP to put them on cooldown, so you can use them later. I'm not saying you need to buy out the entire shop, but you definitely want to do a bunch of quick plays early. Exactly how many depends on who you ask, but I would say if you're playing in like an unorganized group, you don't have four, I would say do at least 9 quick plays before you even think about going in ranked. The reason is the 9th dungeon here unlocks your final ability, so you can basically have all of your character's abilities. You're not gonna have all the talent points, but you'll have most of them from the left side, and you will have 9, done. So you have your hero ability unlocked. Also, 18 marks of fellowship, which means you can buy the arcane artisan supply box by then, and putting this on cooldown early is pretty good. All right. What did you do with supplies? There's a bunch of gear here. Basically, whenever you hit a wall, which your first wall is going to be Cithros Fall, which is the dungeon that unlocks Adept, you should come here and buy out. You're only going to have access to these white items, by the way. You get the green items when you beat Contender, and you get the blue items when you beat Adept, etc. You should buy all the items that fill out the slots you don't have. So when you first start out, your character basically has nothing on. It's like level 1 items on the left and nothing on the right. So you should buy these items that fill out the slots that you did not get yet. So it's much better than like a level 0 item. That's how I'd spend my first supplies. Alright, so let's say you've done 9 quick plays. And you're heading into Contender League. So if you're solo queuing, you just hit find game and it picks 3 dungeons and you vote. If you are in a full group of 4, you can actually pick it. Your menu looks like this, and you can like scroll through and pick. In my opinion, you should try to get to 900 rating for a big power spike with the talent point before you try to do Cithros Fall, which is the dungeon. So 900 rating is basically 5 to 6 dungeons, as long as you time them, of different dungeons. Your first run of a dungeon is going to give you like 150 or so, or it's going to give you 75 points plus 15 for every level. So in 5 to 6-ish runs, maybe 7 runs, you should get your first talent point in Contender. Once you get that, I think you're pretty safe to run Cithrals. Right before you run Cithrals, you're going to want to dump all of your gear, supplies. The supplies we already showed you how to get that, where to dump that, and gold on upgrading. So you can upgrade here, control click an item, and you can upgrade it. Oh, this one's max, but you can upgrade it here. It tells you what's required. You just hold it, and it upgrades it. So you want to upgrade. What items should you upgrade? What items should you prioritize? So this is different for every class. For non-tanks, you want to prioritize the ones that have the highest main stat which is your weapon and your relics. For tanks, in my opinion, you should not prioritize these for upgrades. You should actually prioritize items that have armor, since these have no armor, uh, and the relics have no stamina either. So what's the best prioritize as a tank? That's, in my opinion, chest, legs, helm, shoulder, etc. Kind of in that order. Whichever one has more of that stat, you want to prioritize upgrading more, because it'll give you like more stats. It is like does like cost a little bit more, so you don't need to like super prioritize it when you're upgrading. You can upgrade like basically any item that has armor, you can dump gold on, as long as it's a good item. So you should dump your gold, dump your resources, and then start to attempt Cithral's Fall. And even if you don't time it, it's okay. You're going to be running this a few times because it drops Adept gear. If you notice, it's blue. It says upgrade 1 out of 8. And it can drop a blue weapon, which is very important. If you notice this activated ability, this is from my weapon. I know I said your tanks don't really care to upgrade the weapon, but getting a weapon in the first place is actually very important. So you get this activated ability, like having this versus not having a weapon at all is very, very important. So try to do Tithless Fall as many times as you can until you eventually time it and you get, you know, a level 75 weapon. Obviously, if you cannot beat the dungeon whatsoever, like it's bet you should go back to Contender and do that a little bit more. But once you are capable of actually finishing Cithral's Fall, whether or not you time it, as long as you time it like within 10 minutes or so, you should do Cithral's Fall as many times as you can until you time it. An organized group running Cithral's Fall can time it in like full level 15 gear, and as long as you have like all of your abilities. So it is definitely doable. Once you finish Cithral's Fall, you are going to be officially in Adept. So what are our goals in Adept? You want to be trying to get a blue weapon ASAP if you didn't get one while you were doing Cithrals. If you did not get a weapon, if you did get a weapon, then obviously just try to get other pieces of gear by doing random dungeons. If you're in a group, you can pick the ones that give you the most score or the ones that have the easiest affixes. If you notice in Adept, they all have like one affix. You can pick the easy ones or the ones that you know how to handle the best. Also, one thing you'll notice on the even levels, like 2, 4, and 6, there's an item level jump. So try to avoid doing like level 5 or level 3, unless it has like, or like odd levels, unless it has an affix or something in a dungeon that's really easy for you. You still can do those, but it's better to do the even ones because it's like a smaller jump in difficulty for a bigger jump in gear. How much Adept should you do? In my opinion, you should go up to the talent point again before you attempt Heart of Tazari. So that's 2,300 points. Once you're at 2,300, you have the talent point. You should probably start looking at trying to do Heart of Tazari. Heart of Tazari, under geared, can be quite difficult. If you don't know what any of the bosses do, I would recommend not going here yet and just like play Contender until you can overgear it. Or sorry, play Adept until you overgear Tuzari. But if you know what's going on, the bosses can be done in Tuzari pretty easily. There is a guide to the Heart of Tuzari on the channel. The main thing is the last boss can be very difficult to make the DPS check. You basically want to make him spawn only one set of ads before halfway, and then like just burn him down after killing only that one set. You never have to deal with the second set of ads in either phase. If you're not hitting that breakpoint, if you attempt hard Tuzari and he's like surviving, if he's getting like 2 sets of ads in every phase, then you're probably a little bit undergeared for the dungeon. Obviously, you won't know that until you actually try it, but that is the breakpoint I would say that I use. Anyway, obviously before you attempt hard Tuzari, you're going to want to dump your upgrades again. Same thing as Contender, you just go here and upgrade. Don't bother upgrading your weapon, in my opinion, as a tank. As a DPS, you probably do want to upgrade it, but do upgrade a bunch of the stuff on the left side. And you probably don't need to visit the supplies vendor anymore in Adept, mainly because you did that right before Cithrals, so most of your gear slots should be filled out before attempting Tuzari. Once you can actually do Tuzari, again, you're going to want to just do it a few times. The main reason is, again, that it's purple gear, and you can get a purple weapon. So if you followed my advice at the start and you did enough quick plays to get a purple ingot, you should do a purple weapon. You should do like, sorry, you should do Tuzari until you get a purple weapon. Or Yeah, you should do Tuzari until you get a purple weapon, or like if you run it like 5 times and you still don't have a weapon, then you can go with the champion. But once you get a purple weapon, that's where I recommend spending your first purple ingot. So we're gonna do that at the craftsman. So you notice here, there's this called Arcane Reforge. It'll reforge an item to the same item, like it's the same slot of item, and you get 3 choices, and there's only 4 weapons. So like, you're basically going to get uh, the weapon that you want. If the weapon that you want just like miraculously drops on your head, then obviously don't re-roll it. As Mako, that item is Fated Strikes. A lot of characters I think want Fated Strikes. But basically, you get a weapon. If it's not the correct one, you go here, use your purple ingot on it, and turn it into the correct weapon. And then that weapon, by the way, once it's purple, you get a whole tree. So this tree is not available to blue weapons, only purple and above. But as soon as you get a purple weapon, you want to make sure you get the correct one. Then come here and roll your traits. Which trait you want kind of depends on the class. I believe everyone wants Inspired Allegiance. And most people are going to want Visions of Grandeur, but it really depends on what class you're playing, what traits are good. Just having any traits at all, though, is a massive power boost. So Purple Weapon is a massive power boost. As soon as you can do Tuzari, you're going to run it a few times. The other thing about Tuzari and every dungeon is they drop tier set, or like a set bonus item. If you look at this, it says 0 out of 2 Dark Prophecy. Hopefully people in your group are getting this tier set. I think haste is good for most classes. And the proc is like, kind of nice to have. So you run this basically a few times until you can time it comfortably. Hopefully someone gets a purple weapon. If not, oh well. It's time to head into Challenger. Or sorry, in Champion. So in Champion, you're going to follow basically the same rules as Adept. The only major changes are, you're really trying to get a purple weapon and then purple ingot it into the correct weapon if you haven't done that already, since the purple weapons are such a big power spike. Also, the loot table now includes legendaries. So doing any champion dungeon at all, even if it's a champion 1, still has value if you're like done with Tuzari and just want to do champion at all. Doing champion 1 even has value because you can get a legendary drop. And usually getting a legendary completely changes your character. But basically, this may surprise you, but I recommend doing champion until you get the talent point. And then it's time to start thinking about Wraithtide. So in Champion, your priority is to get the correct purple weapon, not just any weapon. In Adept, you kind of just wanted to get any weapon, because that's not like your forever weapon. It's nice if the correct one drops on your head, but it's not worth using purple ingot, in my opinion, because you are going to get rid of that weapon for any purple weapon. Once you get a purple weapon that's the correct one, you're probably going to be using that for a while, because it has the weapon tree. Even if you get like a better one in Paragon or Eternal, you're still going to be using the purple one if it's the correct white item with the correct tree. Also, you may need to upgrade your weapon a little bit. I think the low level 3 or level 4, it doesn't fully unlock weapon tree. Like your masterwork talent, this one at the top is going to be like locked if your weapon is too low level. Definitely upgrade it enough until you actually get that. So anyway, in Champion, you'll be surprised to know that I recommend going to the talent point, and then hopefully you're ready to attempt Wraithtide. And in Wraithtide, there are new things that can drop. So your gear, first of all, is going to be Paragon. You notice these are, champion gear. Then you get your Wraithtide, and the drops are Paragon level. And you can get your legendary. Getting Paragon level gear is not super important compared to champion level gear, since there's not like a big jump, like there's not like a new weapon tree or anything. But the tier set, or sorry, the item set from Wraithtide is kind of nice. So once you can do Wraithtide, I recommend just farming Wraithtide until you can basically do it comfortably. Hopefully people in your group or you have the item set. This item set is really nice, especially for tanks. Once you do that, you are ready to proceed into Paragon. So Paragon is basically the exact same as Challenger, or sorry, as Champion. There's nothing really new. The gear is obviously on a completely new track, but the weapon doesn't get a new tree or anything. Once you're in Paragon, I recommend, it's the same thing. Just go up to the talent point, and then you're ready to attempt Drakheim. Once you do time Drakheim, you do get the random legendary. Hopefully, while you're doing Paragon, you get like the correct legendary, which makes Drakheim a little bit easier. But once you finish Drakheim, you're ready for Eternal. In Eternal, You can only queue if you have like a preset group. So that, is a big turnoff for a lot of people, but there are plenty of discords you can find people in. But once you're in Eternal, your gearing strategy changes because these are items you're going to basically use forever. Your gearing strategy was kind of the same, like once you got it to champion, like in your weapon had traits, you're basically going for the correct weapon with good traits, and then going into Eternal. So in Eternal, you're kind of looking for items that you're going to be your BIS. So these items are either items with sockets or items that are part of a set. If it doesn't have sockets and it's not part of a set, then the item is not your BIS. And for an item to actually be your BIS and have a socket, it needs to have the essence bonus. Obviously, this kind of sucks. You can Warforge the essence bonus, as you can see on this item, to 35%. If it just has a socket, obviously it's a really good item. But I wouldn't spend upgrading mats on it until it has essence bonus on it. Then you can spend upgrades on it. If it's part of a set that you know you're going to be using, you can also spend upgrades on it. This is kind of where my character is. Like, I know I want to use the Wraith Tide set and the Drakheim set, so I've been dumping upgrades on those. And any item with the essence bonus, I'm also willing to dump upgrades on. Also, if you have a legendary, one thing, by the way, to note about your legendary is that your gem, which it always comes with a socket, the gem that's in it gets essence bonus plus 100%. So whichever gem tree you want, you're going to want to, like whichever gem tree you want to prioritize, you're going to want to put that in your legendary. So we get gems. Once you're in Eternal, that's kind of like where you're getting a lot of power from. So we'll go over gems real quick. The red gem tree is usually like kind of prioritized against bosses, and when you're above 80% health. That's the two things red tree does. It goes basically against bosses and above 80%. Kind of don't recommend this for tanks, but for healers it's a little bit nice because the hard part for healers often is bosses. The purple one is about crit. Once you engage the enemy, you get some crit chance. Yellow one is about haste. Basically every tree is about haste. The green tree is expertise, and at the top you get CDR. The blue tree is about spirit, and it increases the power of your ultimate basically whenever you use it, your spirit power. This is in my opinion the best one for Mako. The white one is like all stats and magic resist, I think. And some relic cooldown reduction in the white tree. Right now, there's not really guides out that tell you which tree is best. You kind of have to feel it out or ask someone that's played it a bunch. For Mako, in my opinion, blue is the best, and for Helena, I think the yellow tree is the best. But that could easily change, and no one has really done all the math for every tree for every character. That's just what I know for tanks. So anyway, you want to prioritize your gems. There are a few ways you can like change which gems you have, which we'll go over right now. So here there's something called gem fusion. You can, I don't know why you would ever split a gem. You can fuse gems, 3 small gems make a big gem, and obviously you want to put the big gems in the slots that have essence bonus. You can, it costs like different mats. By the way, you get these from the boxes we mentioned earlier. To upgrade like small to second level, you need the green mats, and then second level, third level, you need the blue mats, and third level, fourth level, you need the purple mats. You can also transmute gems. If you use green to transmute the gem, it'll just be completely random. If you use blue to transmute the gem, then it gives you a choice out of 3. And purple, I believe you can pick any of the 6 if you transmute the gem. So one thing you can do is you really want to be using the upgrade gem as much as possible. Like when you get 3 of them, you want to be using higher level gems in your gear because you're not going to have that many sockets, and then every socket is more powerful. You have higher level gems. You can transmute gems to fit like having 3 gems. Like if you have 2 diamonds, I could like transmute this into a diamond, or try to transmute it into a diamond, and then I can upgrade the diamond to like socket it into my gear. If I wanted diamonds, that is. You just only want sapphires, and obviously just transmute everything to sapphire until you can't anymore, and then just upgrade those. You can also upgrade a gem and then transmute it. You don't have to only transmute level 1 gems. You can transmute level 2, 3, 4 gems once you're like that at that point in your gem progression. Yeah, once you're in Eternal, basically you want to be farming the sets that you want, and the rest of your gear hopefully has sockets. One thing to note also, the dungeons, like the 3 boss dungeons, drop gear sets that are on your necklace, helmet, shoulders, chest, and legs. And the 1 boss dungeons drop sets that are on your gloves, ring, and one more, I believe. Gloves, ring, and boots. Hold on, let me double check. Let me check here in the Dungeon Codex. Here, Dungeon Codex. Loot. Gloves, bracers, and ring. That's where the 1 boss dungeons have. And then if you look at the 3 boss dungeons, which we'll scroll down to here, it's these item slots for the 3 boss dungeons. Obviously, you'll need to put 2 of them on, so figure it out. Usually, right now, I'm wearing like 2 from the 3 boss dungeons and 1 set from the 1 boss dungeons. But for every character, it can be different. I think eventually you want to wear like only maybe 1 or 2 set items and have gems like in everywhere else. But that is like a late game theory crafting thing. So yeah, hopefully this guide helped you guys gearing up. Also, by the way, once you're in Eternal, you might want to finish off the rest of your quick plays to finish crafting mats. That's because once you're in Eternal, you really are going to be targeting certain pieces of gear, so the crafting mats are much more valuable to use. But yeah, basically you want to dump all of your mats / upgrades before you go in to the next level, like before you do the dungeon. And then once you're in Eternal, you're dumping them only on Bisque gear. And one thing I forgot to mention, actually, your weapon traits are quite important. But you can also empower your weapon traits. So once you get into Eternal, you'll notice that sometimes you have too much gold and not enough crafting mats to upgrade items. And the rest of your gold you can spend on empowering. So you notice my Visions and Inspired Allegiance are 3 out of 4. You can click it to upgrade again. Obviously it costs 3,000 to go to 4 out of 4. So I probably won't be doing that anytime soon. But it costs 1,000, then 2,000, then 3,000 to upgrade that. Any excess gold you have should basically go there, because in order to use your gold outside of that, you need mats. And if you're out of mats and you have excess gold, that's basically where you dump it. Dump it on Inspired Allegiance if you have that. And then if your capstone trait is really good, then use it there. Obviously, don't do that if your weapon doesn't have Inspired Allegiance / Bisque traits, because you're going to want to replace that weapon with a weapon that does have those, and then your empowered gold has basically been wasted. So wait till you get your weapon that you're going to be using forever, and then you can dump gold there too. All right, that is it for the gearing video. Thank you all for watching. Peace out.